with all that said, let's get right into it, Rob. And the big news, you and I have said it, and we're not the originators of it, but we have pushed it. With all of, the Washington football team in the NFL, they have, taken down a statue of one of their previous
former owners,
yes, who was resistant to integrating the team. They were the last team, last team to integrate, to have black players. And so they took his statue down, and they taken, I believe, Rob G, his name off the Ring of Honor or something to that effect as well. Yeah. And so, but that's nice. All right. That's good. And that shows you want to be proactive about stuff. But the name, that's the elephant in the room. The name. As long as you have that nickname, there's a problem. And you and I, Rob, have called on the league to do its part and get it changed. We've called on the players, particularly the African-American players, to say we're not playing as long as that's the name of the team, and we think it'd be changed in very short order. But those things didn't happen, so FedEx has stepped up, and their CEO is a minority owner of the Washington Redskins, and FedEx is one of many companies that is now called on the Washington football team to change its nickname. Rob G, give us a little bit more of the story.
Well, it all kind of popped off yesterday, Chris, when FedEx, Nike, and Pepsi all received letters signed by 87 investment firms and shareholders worth a combined $620 billion, saying that they wanted the name change. And if they didn't make the change, then they would want to drop out and divest their money. So less than 24 hours later, FedEx sends a formal request to the Redskins saying that they do not want the Redskins name affiliated with the Washington football team.
You know what this means, Rob? It's going to get changed.
It's a done deal, right, Chris. It is an absolute done deal. And we talked about it from the players' perspective, but me and you both know, once sponsors get involved and they start saying, we're going to take our money back, and you're talking about some of the companies you just mentioned, Pepsi and all that. When they say, no, we're not going to advertise and have any signage at the stadium. Yep. The mayor of D.C., God bless her soul, also stepped up and said, you won't build a new stadium inside of the D.C. city limits, Chris. We're not having it. And you know how popular that team is down in D.C. I mean,
oh, yeah.
In the heyday,
as they are, they're still wildly popular.
You know they're popular. In their heyday, it was even crazier. Yeah. You couldn't get a ticket to go to a Washington game. I have even a problem saying the name. I know a lot of media, news organizations, Chris, won't even say it anymore, and I don't like saying it. It slips once in a while, so I'm not perfect, but I don't like saying it. And bravo, because sometimes the only way you get things changed is you have to apply financial pressure. How did the NFL get the Martin Luther King holiday, Chris, in Arizona? They threatened him by taking away the Super Bowl, which was money. It was money to Arizona. Once they said we won't have a Super Bowl, what happened? The Martin Luther King thing happened the next time they had a vote. Just like that.
Yep. Here's what I'll say, Rob. And Frederick Douglass, I have a huge poster of him on my wall in my office. Here's a quote from him. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. That's it. That's the quote. And look, it would be wonderful if Daniel Snyder and the rest of the people that run the Redskins, there it is, a slip, but the Washington football team, decided out of the kindness of their heart to change the name, right? And it would have been nice if it had happened decades ago when this first became an issue, about 30 years ago, Rob. But the fact of the matter is, it just needs to happen no matter how it happens. And if it takes a business situation where you're not going to make as much money, then so be it. Everybody's heart's not going to change. And sometimes, Rob, I hear people argue against legislation or some other external form of change because they're like, it's a heart issue. You got to change the heart. Look, everybody's heart's not going to change.
No.
Some people will go to the grave being wrong, being racist, being whatever, having their views, okay? So what we have to do is put laws in place to make sure that the right thing is done. And if Daniel Snyder's heart never changes, it'll be fine as long as that nickname changes pronto.
And he has a couple of options, Chris. He could sell. If you're so hell-bent that as the owner, he said, quote, over my dead body, not on under my watch. On my watch, will it change?
Did he actually say over my dead body?
He said on my watch. On my watch. It won't change. So now he's presented with this, Chris. So to save face, he could sell the team, right? To save face, say, I'm not doing it, and sell the team and get out. Or he'll have to come around and change his opinion. And where is the NFL? Where are they on this? They've been silent. They're talking about handing out money and, oh, yeah, we are woke now and all this. And we talked about it. I wrote a column on Deadspin about this, Chris, a week or 10 days ago. Where is the NFL on this? And now with the sponsors involved, trust me, they got the attention. You don't think the NFL will now monitor this?
What this shows you, Rob, and shows all of us, is that a lot of people making these changes, the people out in the streets marching of all races, they want change. They mean business. But a lot of people making these changes or donating this amount of money to fight systemic racism, it's great. Please keep donating. But a lot of them are just doing it for business reasons, Rob.
That's fine.
They're not doing it for heart reasons, because if it was strictly the heart, then the challenge for Native Americans is they don't have the numbers,
they don't have
population
a voice
that the African Americans have. Right? They don't have the political strength and power that the African American community has to make noise about this. I guarantee you, if the Native American community was as strong as the African American community numerically, economically, politically, this would have been changed
and Chris,
a long time ago.
We need to bring this up because both of us have been in different situations of covering. This is not new.
No.
I covered the World Series in 1992 in Atlanta, and there were protests outside the stadium with Native Americans. And Chris, you remember the tomahawk chop?
Yep.
They wanted them to stop that tomahawk chop back in 1992, and they were out there, small numbers.
Yep, but they
were out
there.
there. And you have a similar situation in Cleveland.
1995, I covered the World Series when it was these two teams, the Atlanta Braves and the Cleveland Indians. So they were out there, but like you said, it was small numbers. People weren't paying them any mind. They were just moving right past them. And I did feel bad because I understood. I said that could be us as African Americans if we didn't have the numbers to really make us take a stand. And I'm not going to blame us, but it would have been nice if people of all colors, whites, blacks, in the NFL office had recognized this. And you and I kind of called on the black players at least that play for Washington to take a stand, because it wouldn't be that. I don't think it would be much of a sacrifice, because I don't think that name would last 2 weeks.
I don't think it would. If players said we're not wearing that helmet, we will refuse to play in that helmet. We've seen college kids do it, Chris. So don't tell me that if the NFL players together as one made that claim and put that pressure on the owner that it wouldn't change.
No question.
So I really believe that. And the one thing with the Cleveland Indians, Chris, is that they have, I think, retired Chief Wahoo, that caricature.
Right.
Because that was another thing that they didn't like, was that caricature of the Indian Chief Wahoo. I don't think that they put that on any other
I think they did
stuff,
get rid of that.
Yeah, that was one thing that they did get done.
And as we've seen with the Washington team, they came out and tried to say Chief Wahoo was, was respectable.
Right.
And, you know what I mean? All this stuff. And I'm sure they got some Native Americans that seconded that. But we talked about it last week. A Native American body that represents 500 tribes.
Right. Oh, no.
Came out and said it needs to go. And Rob, the dictionary, go to dictionary.com, put in the word Redskins and look it up. And it will say a racial slur.
Yes, that's what it is.
About Native Americans. So that's it. That's the English dictionary. So enough said. It needs to be changed, and it looks like, Rob, with now that money's involved, it will be, and it can't get here quick enough as far as I'm concerned. All right, your turn to weigh in, 877-99 on Fox. Are you on board with big businesses like FedEx basically forcing the Redskins to change their name? We will continue the conversation with you next. It's Chris and Rob.
Josh in D.C., you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What you got, Josh?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I love your show.
Thank you.
I'm driving to work, I started listening to it. I'm completely agree. Change the name. Get it out of here. We're in a great time for this. I mean, the skins have something set up already because they have arrows on their helmets and, throwbacks and everything. So I say change it to the DC arrows, get it over with, make everybody happy, and let's get back to normalcy.
Well, that's a good – I think that's something to throw out there, Rob, to our callers that are on hold. If they haven't answered, what would you like the name to be? Because, like, St. John's used to be the Redmen. St. John's University.
And they did it overnight, right? The Red Storm. Boom. Let's change everything.
Yeah,
and that was the end of it.
That time. Yeah,
and you know what? People had old stuff. You buy new stuff, right? Right.
Because it will help you business-wise, actually.
No doubt.
So if you got a nickname out there you want to replace it, feel free to share.
Delonte in Missouri, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up?
I was a long-time fan, long-time listener.
Thank you.
I just want to give a little background behind this. I'm actually living in Joplin, Missouri, but my grandma is a school teacher out in Washington, Sea Pleasant, Maryland, actually. Okay. And every time I'd go out there during the summer, she'd be like, "Oh, them dead skins. And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, That's what the Redskins mean. It means a dead Indian. That is derogatory. So they need to change. They needed to change that shit a long time ago. Just like.
No doubt about it. Needs to be changed.
We on delay, right?
Yeah, we're good.
We get Jamin and that was a good call.
No doubt about it. What about Dalton in Kentucky? You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What you got?
How we doing, guys?
Good.
I'm going to disagree with everybody that's been on the show so far. Whenever I think of Redskins, I don't think about dead Indians. I don't think about, down in Native Americans. I think about one of my favorite football teams, and I think it'd be a shame to see a name change this late into the NFL legacy.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me just say this real quick. Dalton, it's not you're not insulted. It's the people. Right. It's not about you. It's about the people it's about. If they're insulted, if you don't mean to insult them, right, then you just say, okay, I get it. You've enlightened me. It ain't about you. I get why you want it to stay the same because that's what you're used to. Go ahead, Chris.
And, I was going to say the same exact thing, Rob, that it's not about him. And I get where he's coming from. I don't think many of us think of it that way, right? We don't think of it as derogatory and think about Native Americans like that when we say that name. But like you said, it's not about us. And like I said, I've brought it up before. You remember Bomani Jones, our former colleague at the old network, when he wore a shirt on ESPN and it said Caucasians and had like a kind of a goofy picture of a white guy like Chief Wahoo, and it was like the Indians, saying, and it said Caucasians. ESPN asked him to cover it up. Why?
Why is that?
Because it was offending white people.
Yes.
It wasn't offensive to Bomani, but he was doing it as a point to show if this is offensive to you, then Indians, Native American or Redskins, that's offensive to Native Americans.
No doubt about it.
There it is.
Chris in Boise, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Chris?
How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Great, man. How are you?
Hey, good. Before I start, because you guys asked for possible names, I'd like to start with, DC's Freedom kind of has a cool ring to it. But But
it sounds a little
soccer.
Is it soccerish, WNBA-ish, or I don't know if that's but there's a league that's got names like that. But I still like it. It doesn't match most of the rest of the NFL, right. But I do like it.
I'm not sure because I don't think soccer is a sport. But I'll get back
to shots fired.
I'm questioning like FedEx's motives. If they have a minority owner, he was well aware of a derogatory term of a team, of a stadium he was sponsoring when they threw the money out.
Right.
And then to go around and say, "Oh man, it's about time you change that name." It almost seems to me like it's a business decision. Like I think
it is a business decision.
It is. You're right. It's not like all of a sudden they
got to change your heart. Chris said it earlier.
Right.
You're right. It's a business decision. When Pepsi and all these other companies say they're going to pull the money out of your organization, you have two choices, Chris. You can continue to do what you're doing with no money, or you can sell a team, or you can change the name. Those are your choices.
You're right. Go ahead.
I'm questioning whether they think it's actually a good or a bad thing. I think they're just strictly doing it so that people part of maybe a BLM movement will spend more money with them. And I don't think it's genuine.
Well, no, I don't doubt you. You may very well be right. There's a good chance that you're right. But the bottom line is whether it's a heart decision, a business decision, they just want to, it's public relations decision. Whatever the case, it's the right decision. And that's what's most important.
And we should bring up real quick, do we have time for Mark in Sacramento or no?
No, okay. We'll get him the next go-round.
Real quick, Chris. It's like the NASCAR. NASCAR taking away the Confederate flag.
Now, they did it.
That wasn't
reasons,
not for business, Chris.
Right.
They did it on their own. They weren't threatened. Who threatened them that they had to take that flag away from their customers? Nobody. So when I look at NASCAR, they just did what you said, Chris. They did the right thing.
Right.
Period.
And I'll tell you what, and we know their history, but NASCAR is, of all these leagues and businesses doing, like NASCAR is the one taking one of the biggest risks.
They're on the forefront.
Because their fan base would not be pushing getting rid of the Confederate flag. Obviously,
not
their
all
fan
the
base
fan
wants
base,
it.
right.
Yeah, some of the fan base. I'm generalizing, but a lot of their fan base wants it. All right. What's happening, y'all? It's Chris Broussard.
I'm Rob Parker.
And we are
The Odd Couple. Check us out as often as you can on YouTube.
And always remember, I'm Oscar, and he's Felix.
Oh, man. Are you serious?